What up, peeps? It's your boy Tacho here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. So today we are gonna actually go ahead and do a showcase. I know it's been a hot minute since the last showcase video, but I really wanted to show this guy off. So, Pirate Tibarn, this dude is like straight up one of the best Galeforcer units in the entire game, and I thought his strengths definitely deserved to be showed off. So, if we take a look at his weapon, he gets -1 special trigger, which is already really good because he's a flying unit and he can move 3 spaces. Like, that by itself, with Galeforce, would have made this guy supreme, but it doesn't even end there. Like, he does so many other things as well. If he's not adjacent to an ally, he's getting attack up 5, and he inflicts attack -5 on the foe. So, that's going to make it real easy for him to activate Heavy Blade and get the special ramping to immediately just get that Galeforce to activate. And on top of that, he also does a guaranteed follow-up on the foes. So, unlike the OG Tibarn that requires the foes to be on full HP, this guy doesn't care. As long as he's not adjacent, he is going to be getting that guaranteed follow-up every time. And it's real easy. I mean, if you're using him to Galeforce anyway, he's not going to be adjacent to anyone in the first place, right? Because when you're Galeforcing, you typically want your units to break away from the pack and go in and attack the foes. So a very easy requirement for his weapon effects to kick in. And also, the icing on top of the cake, he comes with this brand new flyer exclusive skill, Dive Bomb 3, which is essentially just super desperation. It's going to give him the twice in a row attack as long as his HP and the foe's HP are above 80%. So very good stuff. You don't have to worry about setting up HP or anything like that to go ahead and attack twice in a row with this guy. So right out the box, this Tibarn is one of the best Galeforce units in the game, and we are going to go ahead and show him off in Aether raids. So as usual, we're just going to go ahead and fight the top 5 people on my friends list, and we're going to start things off with the homie Pearl over here. Alright, so Pearl is running an infantry pulse setup. He's got high HP units like Brave Ike and Sylvia to provide infantry pulse to his mages so they can go ahead and nuke. So Lysithea, Ophelia, and Bramimond, very powerful player phase units, so running them with an IP strategy is going to be very solid. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to go for some hit and run tactics. I'm going to have Tibarn initiate on that Brave Ike, and we're going to ramp into Galeforce and then get out of the way. But I'm not going to be able to do it just yet because, of course, Brave Ike is a supreme tank. So we're going to need some assistance from the Bolt Tower before we can actually pull that off. So let's just give it one turn here. Okay, so the Bolt Tower has done its thing. And right here, I just wanted to do a little bit of a check to make sure I was actually going to proc Heavy Blade, because I am panicked right now, and I just wanted to make sure my attack was actually going to be high enough. And we do get Heavy Blade to activate, so we're able to Galeforce and get right out of the way. So right here, we're showing off how good Tibarn is as a hit and run option. And hit and run is a really good strategy to use in Aether raids. Just go ahead and snipe one of the foes and get out of the way. It's very good in particular in Light Season, where you can use a unit like Mila to inflict isolation on the Dancer. And then you can just go ahead and get a KO, get out of the way. And as long as you isolate the Dancer, they're not going to be able to dance any units. So very easy to pull off hit and run strategies in Light Season in particular. Alright, so let's go ahead and snipe that Bramimond there. And I can actually jump my air over to Tibarn because I'm running flyer formation on her. I thought, might as well because I have so many flying units on this team anyway. So having the ability to jump air next to my flyers is going to be pretty helpful. And I definitely want to make sure I finish off Lysithea here. She's definitely got the most firepower out of the remaining units. So I don't want to take a hit from her, but I don't mind taking a hit from these Dancers. And what's going to happen here is Sylvia is going to attack air first, because Sylvia is a melee type and she's going to have attack priority. And then Azura is going to attack Tibarn, which is not a big deal. So we're free to finish off Azura right now, get Galeforce, and we can start going in on the pots. And for Sylvia, I mean, it doesn't really matter. As long as I keep air out of the way of her, we should be good. And I can probably just roadblock her with Milla as well. Milla is tanky enough that she's not going to be bothered by any attacks Sylvia does. And it's not like I can double attack Sylvia with Milla anyway. So we're not going to be able to finish her off right here. Okay, so first fight, not too bad. We were able to show off the hit and run tactics pretty well. Like I said, Light Season is going to be a really good place to run the hit and run strategy. Because if you've got Milla for the isolation, it's going to be real easy to set this up. Another nice thing about Milla is that she's a dragon type. So if she's standing next to Tibarn, he will be able to transform into his beast form. Okay, next fight. We're on lava flows here. So now we're going to show off how good Tibarn is because he's a flying type unit. So we're just going to be able to run right up and have him snipe that Sylvia. Now normally on this map and on a setup like this, that Sylvia would have been protected. But because we have a unit that can fly, he's going to be able to bypass the lava tiles and just go right in and attack Sylvia. So we're pretty good to go in this regard. This is one of the reasons why this Tibarn is such a deadly Galeforce option. Map terrain is not a problem for him whatsoever. So the mountain map, lava flows, or whatever, doesn't matter. The map obstacles are not going to be an issue. So we've already gone ahead and finished off his Dancer. Now none of his units are going to be able to take a second action, and we have pretty much free roam to just hit and run and take our time with the rest of these units. So I'm going to be able to attack this Byleth here, and we're just going to get some special cooldown charging. He does have Wings of Mercy on Ophelia and Yune, so I am going to want to be careful about that. But otherwise, we are pretty good to go here. And what I can do is actually, I can have Air go ahead and finish off his Ophelia, and then Air is going to be in range of Hell, so I can make sure that Hell is going to attack Air on the next turn. And because Hell targets res against physical type units, we don't have much to worry about there. Of course, Air is one of the few melee type, or one of the few physical type units that does have a higher res stat than defense. So believe it or not, I mean, Daughter is able to block Mommy here pretty well. So we definitely want to do that. And as for Yune, I can pretty much have her come down to me by baiting her with Milla. So we're definitely going to do that. Alright, pretty good stuff so far. At this point, I mean, I have his units right in the palm of my hands. So I'm free to just take the rest of the fight at my own pace so we can break the rest of the pots. Now, I guess we can talk a little bit about Hell, because Hell just recently came out, so I haven't had much time to fight against Hell. But Hell does have that built-in miracle effect, so she can be nasty to deal with in some situations. You can bypass the miracle effect if you attack Hell with a magic type unit. But really, I mean, on this team, I don't have too many magic type units that can do it. I could attack her with Peony, I guess, but I mean, if I tried to attack her with Tibarn right now, we're just going to die. So I have to give it one more turn here. Alright, so I'm going to move Milla up. I'm going to make sure that I'm able to break that fountain at the top. And we are going to be able to finish off Hell and survive her special attack. That's pretty much because I got the stat bonuses from Peony's Dance there. Alright, so we're not doing too bad. So next fight, we are up against the homie Kev K here. Oh man, is he running a burner team? Yeah, he totally is, because there's no way anyone is going to struggle with a team like this. He's pretty much just fishing for defense fights here. This is a strategy that I showed off in another video. So if you want a little more clarification on what our boy Kev K is actually up to here, I can explain it a little bit better in the other video. So there's going to be a link to that at the end of this one. Also in the description of this video, I guess. But basically, the idea here is to run a very easy defense team that anyone can beat. And as long as some weaker players end up fighting your defense team, they're going to get the easy win against you, and then you're going to be able to rematch them, most likely on the final days, so you can avoid fighting other people in Tier 26 or Tier 27, and it just gives you an easier fight that you can do. So fishing for rematches is actually a pretty good strategy. Alright, but right here, I mean, we're just going to pretty much plow this guy's team. He doesn't have anything too threatening. His Azura is at plus 10, but the other guys are not a threat whatsoever. Pretty much all staff units, and they don't even have Wrathful Staff either. So they're going to be hitting us like feathers. We can just run right in and just go for the KOs here. Now, Kev K, this isn't even his final form, guys. Like, Kev K is a legitimate player. If you want to see this guy in action, then there is actually a very good showcase showing off one of his stronger defense teams in the Mer Showcase video. And if you want to see probably the nastiest defense team I ever had to fight, like, not just for a showcase, but just in general, that team was a nightmare. If you want to see some action with that, check out the Mer Showcase video. Alright, but anyways, on to the next fight here. Alright, so this dude's 707. Pretty solid defense setup. He's got double defense mythics with Hell and Bramimon. He's also got Legendary Chrom for the reposition shenanigans. And he's got Peony as well for the dancing. Now, one thing I will say, if I was this guy, I probably wouldn't put Chrom and Peony in the same lane. Because if you go ahead and inflict isolation on one, you're going to do it to the other as well. And I would try to avoid that, but I mean, I can't really speak for him. It is his defense setup, and I don't really know what his thought process actually was. So I'm just going to refrain from saying anything dumb. Alright, but what we're going to do here is we're just going to give it a turn so I can get the Bolt Tower, and we can cause some damage to Hell here. And then I'm going to try some hit and run tactics. Well, I mean, I say that now, but what I ended up doing was just going for the full win on this turn here. Hell's Miracle Effect actually coming in handy there, because I was able to hit her twice and activate Gale Force from that. Under any normal circumstances, I would not have been able to do that. But I do remember this. It took me a good couple of seconds to come up with what I wanted to do for this move. So I was going to do hit and run strategies, but Sylvain has 3 range mobility and he attacks from range. So I'm not going to be able to get my units out of the way of Sylvain. So I pretty much just have to go balls to the walls on this turn and try to win right here. Now, what I'm thinking in my head is that if I can finish off all of his units, I can leave Python for last. And if I manage to Wings of Mercy a unit right in front of Python, I can lock him in place because the Panic Manor is right below him and he's not going to be able to get out of the way. So that's pretty much what I'm going to go for here. So in this showcase, we are showing off how Tibarn can work as a one-turn kill option with the Galeforce strategies. So pretty good stuff there. Alright, once again, I reiterate, guys, I apologize for this one taking a little bit of time, but I did have to think about what my move was going to be here. Oh, also shoutouts to this Tibarn being a colorless unit. The OG Tibarn is a red unit, of course, and he would struggle pretty bad against that blue Chrom. So it's real nice that this guy is colorless. He doesn't have to worry about type disadvantage to actually get in the way of his attacks. So that is very nice. Alright, but just like I said, I was able to finish off all the units and block Python in the corner there. So we're pretty much good to go at this point. This is one of the main ways that people play Galeforce strategies when they're going for the one-turn kills. If there is a way to lock a ranged unit in the corner, you definitely want to set up your units in a way to do that. Alright, so our final fight of the day, we're up against a dreaded Cav line team. And a pretty invested one at that. I mean, this guy's got a whole bunch of gacha exclusive units, and they're all at plus 10 for the most part. So this is the type of team that people will cry against, but your boy is not going to fall for that. So what I want to do here is I'm going to try to bait the units and have them come to me. Not really like I have a choice. It's a cav line, so I have to just take a hit here. But I have some pretty high res units that can bait the staffs that he's got. And I have Mila to bait his Lin on this turn. So we can go ahead and do that. And then on the next turn, I'm just going to try to KO as many units as I can. Now, this is another example of how Tibarn's flying mobility comes in handy, because we can just have him move over those mountain tiles and go in at the foes. Galeforce units that are not flyers are going to struggle on this map, so once again, that flying mobility coming in clutch. Now, unfortunately, if I try to attack Lin in front of Mila, we're not going to be able to get his weapon effects because I'm going to be adjacent to a unit. So I had to finish off Yune first there with air so that we would be able to just have Tibarn get his weapon effects off. Now at this point, it's going to be a little tricky because I have to KO 3 of his units and I still have to try to either get out of the way of Sothis or just not die to Sothis if I have any units that can do that. So all I can really think to do is have Mila stand right there so we can start using Wings of Mercy. And Tibarn has not used Galeforce for the turn, so he is actually capable of getting all 3 KOs here on the staff units. So real good stuff there. And all that's left now is going to be Sothis, but I mean, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about this. She's going to go ahead and attack Mila and then die from Bonfire. So, unfortunately, we were not able to break both of the Aether pots in this fight. But I was still able to do it without losing any units. So, still not the worst thing in the world. I'll take the win without losing any units over getting both of the pot breaks any day. So, that's going to wrap us up for the showcase of Pirate Tibarn. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hope it gave you guys some examples of how nasty and efficient this Tibarn actually is. He's a really good unit right out of the box. You barely have to give him any skills for him to just dominate like that. So definitely a good unit to just pick up if you want one copy of him laying around. It's going to expand your options a ton for Galeforcing in Aether raids. So I would totally recommend this guy. But that's going to wrap us up for today's video. So as always, this is your boy Tacho signing out. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. And I will catch you guys again on the flip side.